Frenchie. Hi, Alison. Is everybody else melting in this weather? Okay. We'll just give it a couple of minutes, see if anybody else is going to join us on the live or if they're going to watch it on catch up. Yeah, it's very warm today. So it looks like we've got a few more people in, or there's a few more watching. So this is the book I'm going to be making. It's slightly different in the way the hinge is done. There is no right and wrong way to do your hinges. It's just what works for some might not work for the others. I quite like this one in that when you open it up it does lie a little bit flatter, but it does depend how many flips and flaps you've got on the other side. And you actually have two sections to your pages. I'll go through that in more detail because it may be a little bit confusing to start with. Oops. Okay, so first of all, to make the book, I have still got a couple of the kits in the shop if anybody wants one. Obviously tonight we're just going to be using plain grey board and black card. If you're using a different patterned paper, you may want to use white card, you may want to use craft, which would be a little bit different. I did try craft with this collection, but I didn't like it. So yeah, back to black. So the kit in the shop is, I've just had a look at that, $39.99, and for that you actually get 2 A4 sheets of grey board plus an offcut that will be big enough for your spine. You'll get some Tyvek, 2 packs of the Stamperia paper, 1 pack of their rub-ons, which are so nice to use. Evening Nicole, they are really nice rub-ons, not like the old style ones. And 1 pack of this ephemera, and 1 pack of, I think they call them chippies, which are a little bit like balsa wood shapes, which you can see here. I've actually painted over them just because they looked a little bit wishy-washy, so I just painted them. You can use any acrylic paints, any watercolours probably wouldn't be a good idea because it might just not be quite deep enough. I actually used, and I don't know if anybody else remember these, twinkling H2Os. They were little pots of paint about an inch, but they are really highly pigmented, and I've had these probably coming up for 15 years, and there's still loads left in them. And I do like them because they have a little bit, they're not a sparkle, but they have a bit of a, I don't know if it shows up, a bit of a sheen to it, but not sparkle. So yeah, that's what you'll be getting in the kit. Oh, sorry, I thought I was going to sneeze then. So today we're going to concentrate on the, shall I do the covers up? I'm going to do the pages. Now if you're doing these, do them all in the same colour. What I'm going to do for this first one is to cut some of it in white and some of it in black, just to show you how they go. So I'll get my trimmer out. Oh. Just remembered that I hid everything away because we've had people round viewing the house. So I had to hide everything away in my craft room. But I'll get there. So I'll just do one for now. I'm gonna do a black and a white one. And just remember, you will all be doing this in one colour. So the outer we're going to cut. Evening Helen, evening Beth. Oh yeah, sitting in a swimming bath is not great in this temperature. Not if you couldn't get in. So we're going to cut it down to 11.5 inches. Keep your paper straight. By 5.5 inches. And that is your outer. And then your inner, we're going to cut at 9.5 inches. By 7.5. Yeah, it really is, Beth. And I've got more craft stuff because I've got some of the shop stuff in my craft room as well, so it's a bit tricky. So on the, oops, wrong one. On your outer, which is 11.5 by 5.5, we're going to score at 1/2 inch. And at 6 inches. And then on the longer one, oops, on the 9.5 inch side, we're going to score at 1/2 inch. And at 5 inches. No, we're not. 1/2 of 9 is 4.5. Yeah, and at 5 inches. My maths isn't mathing today. Oops. I think the heat's got to my brain. the way. Now we're going to make up the outer edge, no we're not, we're going to make up the inner section of the page first. So we're just going to fold this over, and again fold that over and burnish that down. And then we're going to pop some glue on this outer edge. On your little folded bit. Fold that over and just push that down. Used glue out, but it doesn't matter. So that is the inner section of your page. Okay. Then the outer section, and I'm doing it this way just to make it easier for you to see. I will be using all the same colour. So again, we're just going to fold that up and burnish it. Then we're going to fold that over again. And burnish that down. Now, what I'm going to do on this long one, you don't have to do this, just for purposes of to be able to show you. I'm going to do a crease in the 1/2 inch line, and then I'm just going to go down that with a white pencil so that you can see. So this is the long 11.5 inch. We folded it in 3, so it opens up like that, and then I've just scored and then put a white line at the 1/2 inch mark. Now what we're going to do is open this up. We're going to line this inner section up, so make sure that line is lined up with the edge of your paper, and make sure it's straight top to bottom. If you want, you can pencil mark where it's going to go. You don't have to, it's entirely up to you. And then just put a small line of glue along that edge. Now if you want to double check, your fold should be 1/2 inch. So if you fold that over, you've got 1/2 inch there, which will give you 1/2 inch at the other side. And then we're going to fold that over. And not move it. And burnish that down like that. Then fold it over and do exactly the same on the other side. And this time we're just going to put a blob of glue on both sides and just up along your crease line. And then I'm also going to fold that over and put the glue along there. So we fold that over, and then that will just seal that on that side. So you can see that if I squeeze that, you can still see through the outer, both of them, like that. But you've got your page now that looks like that. Again, yours will all be in one colour, unless you want to do it multicoloured. It depends what papers you're using. So, evening, Diana. So what we're going to do is we're going to do that. Would anybody want me to go through it all with black and white, or are we okay just to crack on and make the pages in black? Does anybody want me to go through it again for you? Hi, Tony. Tone? Oh, I don't know how you pronounce that. Yeah, so we'll crack on just doing it all in the one colour cardstock. Crack on. Right, so I'm gonna need a chunk of black card. I'm going to cut all the inner ones first, and then all the outer ones. So the outer ones are 11.5 inches by 5.5. So that's one. From Norway. Is it warm there as well today, or is it just the rest of Europe that's rather warm? That's 11.5 by 5.5. Normally I say keep your offcuts. This one I'm not going to bother because there's not much I can do with that. Whereas this offcut, I think, maybe not. Yeah, these offcuts I've used to make some of your pockets with, so that you're not using, you're using your card economically. So that's 11.5 by 5.5. And we need 6 of these in total. Have any of you been watching the World Cup, or have you been hiding in your craft room while it's been on? 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2. So your next one, we're going to cut at 9.5 by 7.5. And again, keep your larger offcuts, but don't keep your smaller offcuts. 9.5 by 7. And again, because we're doing 6 pages, we're going to need 6 of these. By 7.5. Yeah. I don't know if you saw on TV, Helen, on Monday morning, I think it was Breakfast TV, there was a school, and I can't remember where it was. Yes, tennis as well. If you don't like any sort of sport, you didn't have much choice that weekend. There was a school that decided they weren't, the teachers, the staff, the kids' parents weren't going to watch the football on Sunday night, Monday morning when it was actually live, and somebody recorded it, and they all went into school for about 7:15 Monday morning, and everybody, the school, the staff, the teachers, some of the parents, I think, and the children went in at 7:15, sat in the hall in school and watched the recording of the match all together, which I thought was a really good idea. So the kids didn't have a late night, but they did get to watch it. They got to watch it with all their friends. Yeah, it was really good. And we won, which is a bit of a bonus. But yeah, I believe we're doing quite well in the well, there's only one left in the tennis from what I remember. But he got in as a wild card. So if anybody fancies taking up tennis ready for next year, who knows? So I'm going to do the outers first, although I think it was Sunday I put the TV on. BBC One had tennis on, BBC Two had tennis on, ITV had football on, Channel 4 had Grand Prix racing on. I think there was cycling on 5. So if you weren't a sports fan of some description and only had basic TV and not Sky, you would have been watching nothing. Maybe they should have 1 or 2 channels purely for sports, because I've noticed oh, has he got it? Hadn't finished last time I looked. Oh, that's really good. So on our 9.5 inch side, we're going to score at 1/2 inch. and 9.5 by 7, yeah, and at 5 inches. I'm just going to stand that up, and I'm going to repeat that on all of them. So that's 1/2 inch and 5 inches. Oh, Diana, not to worry. Half an inch and 5 inches. Do we have any predictions as to who's going to win the World Cup? Or are we just seeing how it goes? I know there's quite a few big teams got knocked out now. That's 3. No, it's not, it's 4. 1, 2, yeah, 4. Okay. So that's 1/2 inch and 5 inches. And then again, we're going to do 1/2 inch and 5 inches. Okay. Then what I'm going to do, just to make life easier, spin it round and just do, it doesn't have to be a very heavy score, it's just giving us a line to line our outer bits up to. Just a quick 1/2 inch and I'll do that on all of them. It's not necessary, but it just, if we can make make things a little bit easier, why not? Obviously like it to be England, but otherwise don't care. Yeah, I think the Scottish fans were a bit disappointed when they got knocked out, but I think they had a party whether or not they got knocked out or not. Beth doesn't think England can do it, but you never know. No, you don't. I think it's whoever's on the top of their game at the minute. So, our outer bits, we're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 6 inches. At 1/2 inch and at 6 inches. Half an inch and 6 inches. Half and 6. Half. Oops. And 6. Beth, I remember them with, yeah. Sadly, I wasn't around for that one. So I think they need to do it again for me. So I'm going to take this one a little bit slower. So again, we're just going to fold on the score line. And then we're going to fold over again. pop the glue along there, hold that in place, and then just burnish that down. Okay, so now you've got like a squash toilet roll that goes like that. I'm going to do that with all 6 of them. Is Diana still here? Have you had any of the World Cup matches held near you, Diana? I know they've been a bit all over the place, haven't they, with some in America, some in Canada and some in Mexico. Her internet might have gone again. Going to furnish that down. So make sure all our little 1/2 inch score lines are all at the same side. And fold that over. Pop our glue down again. USA versus Egypt. Straight. So we're just going to pop this on. Like that. So I take it if it was close by you didn't go, Diana. Okay, so we've got our inners all with the score line just to show on the left hand side. So I'm going to pop them there and I'll now work on the outer ones. So on the outer one, if you fold that over, and then fold that over. Now, because we've got this 1/2 inch fold line here, we know that the inner is exactly an inch shorter than the outer. So if we've got a 1/2 inch line here, we know that there'll be a 1/2 inch line there. So what I'm going to do is pop the glue just up to, but not over, that score line. I'm just wary that I don't want to stick my head in the way. So I'm going to line that up against, making sure that the score line's level on either side and up against this fold here, and then I'm going to fold that over and just rub that glue line down like that. 60,000 fans all in one place is amazing. Having said that, I remember back in the day, late 80s, early 90s, being at, when they were still standing in the grounds. I remember being at Old Trafford and there was about 75,000 people, and United scored 1 minute from the end, and we jumped up when they scored, but when we landed we were about 7 foot lower down than I was when we jumped, just because of the sheer number of people. So again, we're going to put a little blob of glue there and a little blob of glue there, and then again just on the inside of that score line, and then glue on this flap, and then when we fold that over, we're going to have that straight. So now, if I get my little card, you can put photo mat in there, photo mat in there, turn it over, and you've got another photo mat there. So in one page, if you put photos front and back, you can get 6 photos on each page. Having said that, there will be flaps and other bits and pieces, so you will get 6 is 30. You will get more than the 36 photos that you would get just on the pages. So I'm just going to burnish that down again, fold that over, make sure it's straight, and then we're going to do that all again. So open it up, we're going to pop the glue on just under the score line. We've got our folded bit there, so we're going to pop that score line just on the outside, make sure that that's straight, and burnish that down. And then again, we're just going to do a little blob of glue there, a little blob of glue there, and right the way up. And then we're going to fold this over. I'm going to put glue on here. So that's going to come all the way over. And again. just burnish that down. So again, you've got your section, your inner section, your outer section, and space for 3 photo mats, 6 photos. Okay, again we're just going to fold that over. While I'm doing this, I don't know if any of you crafters have heard, there is a company in the US called Notions, and they are the biggest distributor of craft goodies, be it paper, be it cardstock, be it soft crafts, patterned papers, all your bits of ephemera and all the things that come together to make your collections, as well as wool and other things. And a couple of weeks ago they had a power outage, and then when the power came back on, it started an electrical fire. And this company have, I think it's 3 warehouses, and each warehouse is the size of sort of 6 or 8 football pitches, something like that. And the one that had the fire was the one where they did all their packaging and dispatching. And at first they said they were closing for a couple of days to get everything sorted. We've had an update from them now, and it looks like they're going to be shut for a couple of months. Anything that was in that warehouse will have to be destroyed. So if it wasn't burnt by the fire, it would have been affected by the water from the sprinklers or the fire hoses. And if it managed to escape that, and this is all your tools as well, it will have had smoke damage. So all that stock, inventory, whatever you want to call it, will have to be thrown away, which makes it makes me cry. And the stock that's in the other warehouse, or the other 2 warehouses, they can't do anything with at the moment because they've got no packaging plant, no packaging area, and I'm not sure if it affected some of their computer systems. So at the moment, a lot of, certainly the paper crafting brands, there are sort of wool brands, fabric brands, arts, like fine art brands that have been affected as well. But a lot of brands I just cannot get, or any, well, I'm going to say any UK customer, any retailer cannot get from anything from the biggest distributor in the US. So that means anything like your big brands like American Crafts, like your 49 and Market, your Ranger, I think Tonic are in the US, although we can get Tonic in the UK because they have a UK distributor as well. The likes of Simple Stories, Echo Park, most papercraft manufacturers go through this one warehouse facility in the States, which is going to be off certainly for a couple of months. Not sure when they are likely to be back up and running. We can still get some new products from the likes of Arden Creative, which we used on the Field Notes book. That was one of their papers. They're UK based, so we can access them. Stamperia is, I think it's Italian. There's a couple of other paper companies that are based in Europe. But a lot of the US companies are having to very quickly get their own distribution centres up and running, which, if you can imagine, somebody like 49 and Market would have, say, they would get an order from Notions for a couple of thousand of this paper pad, of these rub-ons, and they were used to just ordering it and having it made and shipped to Notions. Whereas now, they're going to have to be distributing in smaller amounts, because obviously I can't order a few thousand of the same item, and there's not many retailers that can. So it's going to be a little tricky over the next few months as to what, I think Graphic 45 is another one that's been affected, because they were the distributors for Graphic 45 as well. A lot of companies are really going to struggle, and obviously if they don't sell this product, they don't get money in, they can't produce new ranges. So a little bit up in the air at the moment, but like I say, the brands are working on it, and I am actively looking at European based paper manufacturers that we can still get product from. Like I say, the vast majority are in the States. I was trying to think of a paper manufacturer that's not based in the States, and yeah, the only ones I've come up with so far are Arden, Stamperia, and there's another one. Minte is, I think it's Hungary. And Scrap Me Up was a brilliant company, but they're based in Ukraine, and I've not seen or heard anything of them for a while, so fingers crossed everything's okay with them. But like I say, I'm not quite sure. So again, you're going to glue up to the score line, and then we're just going to line that up and hold that in place. Good reason to use up some papers I already... Yeah, I know, Helen, but I like getting excited over new papers. But yeah, I have had some new stocking, although that was Arden. But yeah, I don't know how it's going to affect the paper craft industry as a whole. It's just going to be a case of wait and see. I have managed to get some Simple Stories papers for our 2-day craft event in October for the scrapbook layouts. So yeah, it is going to be I have some collections here already that I'd already got to make books with, but yeah, we just don't know at the moment how long it's going to take for them to get back up and running, and I guess they don't know until the fire investigators have done their jobs, until they've managed to clear everything out. I think it's quite sad, really, but a freak of nature, but there we go. So I'm just going to pop the glue along there. But yeah, I do have some ideas in the pipeline. And line that up. Oops. And then just burnish that down. And then we're just going to pop the glue along here. And along here. And then I'm just going to pop the glue on there. And I'm just going to burnish that down. Yeah, I think we've all got papers that we could use, Helen. I just worry that some of the smaller companies, if they have to wait for the insurance to pay out and things like that, it could, I guess it could be the end of some of the smaller companies, which isn't a great move. But as and when I hear anything, I will let you know. Like I say, we have got Arden, which is based in the UK. Stamperia is in Italy. Minte is in Hungary. I think I found a new one from the Netherlands. I'm just waiting for them to get back to me. So if anybody knows of any really nice papercraft companies that are not based in the States, there used to be Kaisercraft in Australia, but they've gone more down the home decor route now, so they're not going anymore. Yeah, let us know and we'll see what we can do. So there are our 6 pages. Okay, so what I'm going to do for the covers, right, your front and back cover needs to be 9.5 wide, wide by 6 inches deep. So I'm just going to find my thing. I've drawn it on so you can see where we're going. My blade for my other trimmer's not doing well. I need a new one. So again, lots of light, I'm going to say scores. Ooh, scrap boys. I'll look into those. Thank you, Tony. How do you actually pronounce your name? So if you keep doing this a little bit at a time, it will go through. And it is more a case of slow and steady. You won't get through in one go, but you will in time. So again, I'm just going to line that up. So lots of shallow cuts. Yeah, just check your blade isn't blunt, works wonders. Thought we'd gone through then. And there you go. So that's front or back. Oh, I think I drew on the same piece of pet cardstock twice. Not great. So again, we're going to go at 9.5 inches. By 6 inches. And again, we're just going to line that up. Yeah, I've heard of minty. Scrap berries. Ooh, might have to look into a few of these. So again, just line your ruler up. Make sure you use, if you've got one, the metal side. Speaking from experience, if you have a plastic ruler, you can cut through the plastic. So lots of light cuts. This isn't the best thing to be doing when you've got, so I had a, those of you that know, I had a little fall on my holidays in March. My GP wanted me to have a 24-hour heart monitor just to see how things were going, which was fine. And I've got it on today, but with all the sticky bits, it's the wrong type of, it's too hot to be having all sticky bits stuck to you, and every time you move the sticky bits are pulling. Ooh, Poland seems to be a bit of a top country at the minute for different scrapping things, different paper manufacturers. Yes, somebody else has told me about DLS, Jill. So I have been, they are quite, not bright, they're quite fresh, and yeah, they look quite good. So for your spine, it's a 3.5 inch spine, again by 6 inches. So I'm just going to line that up. I think I might treat myself to a new blade as well shortly. So, like I say, this was just an offcut I had in the drawer, which is why I'm only getting a small amount there. But again, just trim that down. These offcuts of card, offcuts of grey board, I keep them because things like this, I don't know if you can see, I don't know if I can get the camera in, under there, I've actually used some of the small offcuts of grey board to lift up certain pieces on the front of the book. So yeah, different pieces have been, some have got one piece, some have got two. Rather than using foam pads, I thought, well, we've got all these offcuts, why not use them? It seems silly to have these offcuts and yet go out and buy foam pads to lift your lift things up on your project. I have a little, I don't even know where this bag came from, with little offcuts in, and when I'm layering things up like that, it's really handy just to grab one of them from the bag rather than, I won't say waste money, but why buy things that you can do without when you can save your stuff for the better crafty bits. So, are we okay for time if we put the hinges, we put the covers together? Carry on for a little bit longer. So, that's my Tyvek. I'm going to pop my hinge, my spine centrally in the middle of the Tyvek. So I'm going to pop plenty of glue on here. Again, I'm just going to line this up central-ish and just hold that down firmly. And I'm going to put my hinge spacers in, and then I'm going to pop my glue, which you can't see very well on the Tyvek. I'm going to get my cover, butt it up into place and just hold that down. Whilst that glue sets, and I'll just move that over slightly. And again, I'm just going to pop some glue along here. I just squiggle it on. Some people do it in lines, some people do, it doesn't really matter. And again, just hold that down whilst the glue grabs. And take these hinge spacers out of the way. For those of you that haven't seen before, these hinge spacers, I used to do it by eye, leaving a gap between. It doesn't always work, so I had my hubby make these and have them in 1/8 of an inch and 1/4 of an inch, so depending on how much you want the gap between your spine and your covers, depends which one you use. But yeah, I find them invaluable when I'm making books, because I can't try and do things by eye, it doesn't always work. But if anybody wants any of those, they are in the shop, and they come in a variety of different colours, because he keeps asking me if he can buy any more 3D filament. So because it's so hot, I'm not going to mess with this tonight and put the papers on the outside. I just want that glue to grab and stick really well. Just because of the heat, it's still got a little bit of wiggle room, and I don't want that moving on our covers. So if you've been crafting along, you'll have got up to here. If you're watching and crafting afterwards to make sure I don't make any mistakes, you will get up to here. So you will have your 6 pages, and I'll just do it on this one again. You've got your inner page, and then your outer page. It will be glued at this end, but you can put your photo mats or whatever in there, so you have 3 places to put your photo mats or your journaling or wherever. If any of you are stuck on this design or want me to go through it again, let me know, or again you can always just watch the video back. For those of you that don't, back again Diana, that aren't aware, I do upload, because of the new Facebook rulings, that after so many days the videos the Facebook lives disappear off Facebook. I do upload the videos onto my YouTube channel so that they don't disappear into the ether, and you've still got them there to look back on. Okay, so those of you that are watching any sport over the weekend, have a lovely time. If you're just going to go outside and enjoy the sunshine, enjoy it, but stay safe. Drink lots of water. Have a lovely weekend, and I will see you all back here next Wednesday. Take care. Bye bye.